too. So happy spring to everyone, at least in this hemisphere. Um, and it's really wonderful to be here with everyone today. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for Medicine Buddha. Thank you for those who have been returning and practicing. It's wonderful to see you. And Please check in the chat. Let me know how you're doing, what you're feeling, what you're bringing into the space. We're gonna start moving into more of our spring practice with Medicine Buddha. So calling in energy, awakening, resurrection, all of that. Like that's the energy of the spring. Um, yeah, and let's see what else. Um, yeah, grief course coming up this weekend. Lots of stuff. Eric has already gone over it as well. And so I wanted to also say too that here in our practice in Medicine Buddha, we're going to start kind of adding more elements to this practice as well. We do have like a day-long retreat or a work session for Medicine Buddha coming up as well, since it's been a couple years actually since we've done extended practice. So that's coming up in the spring, um, or at latest like midsummer, but it's coming up. So we'll let you know when we schedule that. We'll also we'll be adding a stone to our practice, and I'll let you know which stone we're choosing and so forth soon. And we're going to do some herbal work as well. So I'm going to teach you how to use Medicine Buddha to really enhance the power of medicinal herbs, which is just tuning into the frequency of herbs and just adding, channeling this energy into that frequency. It's like praying over things, right? So we're going to be doing more of that practice and adding that as well. So more stuff to come as well. Um, but yeah, so as we kind of shift our attention into practice, right? And really also shifting attention into the energy of spring, right? Of awakening, of movement, of shaking off the winter, which I hope to do in our practice is to do some work of shaking off the winter, right? And beginning to open to the spring, right? And maybe doing one of my favorite um, meditations and visualizations, as well. So yeah, just checking in. I'm just seeing people post into the chat. Um, and just like reading through, um, yeah, yeah. I see, yeah, loneliness, being pulled towards disassociation, feeling frustrated, despairing over how much suffering there is and how far its end feels, repeatedly grieving as I have to let go of everything over and over, right? Um, yeah, such a strong experience, right? And that is what so many of us are really kind of moving through, this endlessness, like this endless stream of all kinds of discomfort, from anger to heartbreak, from loneliness to sadness, right? All of that, it seems so endless, right? And, and for me, right, it's yeah, definitely the recognition of the enormity of this moment, right? But also the recognition that I am not what I am experiencing either, right? I'm not the heartbreak, I'm not the anger. These are experiences, right? And these experiences are themselves are arising from a very liberated experience, which is emptiness itself. Right? And this is what we're trying to get to in our practice. This is what deity practice and tantra is guiding us towards. It's guiding us towards the remembering of the nature of what we are experiencing. Right? Grief is grief, right? Anger is anger. All of that is true on one hand, but on the other, like these experiences are only the expressions of emptiness. They are only the expressions of the nature of our minds, right? The nature of phenomena is equivalent to the nature of our own minds. And this one nature is itself the state of liberation, right? Liberation, we use that word all the time, like liberation, freedom, and so forth. But to remember, right, that what we experience, right, is being shaped continuously by a severe misunderstanding, right? We misunderstand the nature of things, and we end up with an experience that feels intense, that feels uncomfortable. And we're trying to transform that misunderstanding into clarity, right? That within the very heart of the thing that I struggle with the most is this state of non duality, of boundless space, this emptiness, right? Which really is saying that there is no there, right? That what we think is happening is only one version of what is arising. And Tantra is helping us to get to a more truthful, a deeper version or experience of what is arising. This is the door that any Buddha, especially Medicine Buddha, is inviting us to move into, to open into, like the door of ultimate or absolute experience. Right? Um, yeah, and this is for me. Um, what drew me into this practice and this path was this promise that if I trained hard enough and seriously enough, then I could experience a deeper truth, right? A deeper truth to what I thought was going on and is going on, and that has absolutely been the case, right? Um, I think in the body, as embodied beings in this realm, it's not that we're trying to necessarily transform suffering into joy, but I think what we're actually doing and what is much more feasible is that we are remembering the space that holds everything so that everything can be present, right? And our suffering can feel really intense when we feel contracted or rigid or too focused on one experience, when in fact there are many experiences arising within the boundlessness of spaciousness, right? And we're trying to do this work of relaxing, like, and expanding, and feeling that expansion widen and widen. And that expansion is really just like consciousness itself expanding, right? Or awareness of consciousness expanding into consciousness that's already expansive and limitless, right? And that expansion is coming from from relaxing around the sense of ego, the sense of self. The sense of self is just a thought that we're hung up on, right? And we're trying to let go of that, relax around that, right? It's like a fist. Like this is like my fist, right? And it's like this, the balled up tension of the fist is actually how we're moving through the world. This fist represents the sense of self, which is an expression of a lot of pressure, right? And a lot of intensity. And in practice, we're trying to recognize all this labor that we're putting in to getting really contracted and tight and shut down. And we're trying to open that, relax that, right? We're trying to trust the space to hold us so we can release this tension and return back to this experience of space. It is space that is holding us, as we were, practicing on Saturday in our day long is practicing how Tara and really the cosmic mother in Tantra is space, arises as space. So as we actually are expanding and relaxing, we're allowing ourselves to be held by space, which is to say that we're allowing ourselves to be held by the mother, right? And so that relaxing, that opening is deep. It's like it's almost unconscious, right? But it's so integrated down into the core of what we think we are and who we think we are. And again, deity practices like Medicine Buddha is helping us to reimagine, right, who we really are, not who we think we are, but who we really are. We are the space, not the contraction, right? We're the space, not this, right? We're occupying just this little bit of space, right? And we call that freedom, when in fact, all of this is ours to expand into, and this is what we're trying to do. And we're trying to do it gradually, bit by bit, right? But a gradual releasing, a gradual expanding, right? And this work is how you metabolize the intensity of this moment of systemic collapse all over the place, right? To open to these energies, to feel the earth grounding us, right? To feel the tethering of the earth as we open, right? And to feel the breath, right? And to feel like impermanence, which just feels like just shifting movement continuously, right? And that we don't have to get even hung up on the impermanence, the fluidity, but we can just allow it, just to be, just to move, just to circulate and flow, right? Things are always shifting, always changing. And how do we just hold that, right? And just feel that shifting, that changing happening all over the place, deep in our bodies, in our minds, in the phenomenal world around us, right? To feel this shift from winter into spring, to feel the opening, the life, the awakening, right? To feel like this preparation for the efficiency of summer, right? That we're waking up to to start living again, to start engaging, to get warmed up for the summer and to be in the summer and to be just alive. And but to be alive means that we're feeling what we need to feel, right? And we just allow ourselves to be expressions of just this wakefulness of awareness itself, right? Which is really, it's just really healing, right? To even just, at least in my practice right now, it's just really healing to just imagine that, to even think about becoming an expression of awareness, right? Itself, right? Just this knowingness, and this knowingness doesn't, it's not about clinging, it's not about jumping into the future, it's not about getting stuck in the past, it's just about being right here in this moment, right? So even starting, if you look in the prayer doc, starting with, let's see, what is that prayer? um, um,
Which one are you referring to?
oh, the awaken, the awake, do not be distracted, which is,
Ah, Soga Rinpoche's hard advice. Come
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. Well, let's start with that prayer to get us into practice. I don't know where I put my, it used to be on my desktop. But as we pull that up, um, yeah, Soga Rinpoche. So for those of you who are new, I don't do this often. We don't go through this often, but this feels like a spring prayer, right? Be not distracted, be not distracted. Right? Be not distracted, which is for me that's the most important line of the prayer. Right? Be not distracted. Right? So be not distracted. And when I talk about remembering that we're expressions of awareness, right? This is the teaching that takes us continuously back to this experience. Be not distracted, which of course Rinpoche is saying, be here. Like, pay attention, feel this. Everything that arises, all phenomena is an anchor for our awareness. Allow phenomena to gently tether us, right, into this moment. And of course, this moment is important because the present moment, is how we get free, right? Right now, in the moment, is the best time to get free, is to remember, to awaken, right? That within everything, within the struggle, within the collapse, within the sadness, the loneliness, the striving, the confusion, within all of this is the experience of awakening, of enlightenment, right? That this enlightenment isn't about bypassing this moment, but it's about leaning into this moment, daring everything that arises to reveal its true face to us, right? If you get down to the last couple of lines, right, where Rinpoche says, there is no other Buddha, or the line before, once your own mind is known to be primordial purity, free from contrivance, there is no other Buddha, right? When we realize, right, that everything that arises is just the expression of this clear, fluid, awakened mind, right? We realize that this has always been the Buddha, right? Yeah, we have medicine Buddha, we have Tara, we have all the Buddhas and so forth. Yeah, that's wonderful, but the real Buddha is the very nature of phenomenon, this primordial purity, right? And when we say primordial, it means that this is not something that is born. It's not something that's created. So therefore, it won't die, nor will it be destroyed, right? It is, right? And we can call this primordial purity, again, all kinds of things: Buddha nature, nature of reality, nature of a phenomena. You know, we can call this experience God, right? But when we call this experience God, then we realize how intense it is and almost impossible to pigeonhole the experience of God into something that can feel too singular and too like two dimensional, right? So God in this context, right, is everything. It's the nature of everything, not a person, but an experience. And how that experience of God in this context, it disrupts everything, all of our notions, right, about what is, all of that begins to be disrupted, right? In a tantric sense, right, that disruption is the dissolving of phenomena back into this primordial purity, this emptiness. That dissolving returns us back to the real expression of the Buddha, right? And the Buddha, like God in a tantric sense, is this state of transcending everything that distracts us from this very primordial purity, right? That there is nothing but this resting in this purity that is beyond these dualities and these binaries, right? To sit there, right? To be. I mean, at that point, it's not about sitting. It's not. It transcends all of this. It's when we remember what we are in this sense, we just are, right? We return back to this expansive, boundless experience. This is the nature of our minds. This is the primordial purity of our minds. This is our true face. There's nothing else to realize, as Soka Rinpoche says, there's nothing else to realize but this. So rest at ease, which is one of the most complex teachings in the tradition, to rest and to be at ease, because we're being asked to let go of everything that keeps us tethered to this really limited experience of self, to rest that clinging and to open. Right? And of course, the last line, this is spontaneous non-meditation, right? And when you get back and close, right, to this realization of primordial purity, you begin to understand that this meditation that we have been laboring at is simply and basically the practice of just being. And we all struggle with just being, because so much of what we think is being is really rooted in a lot of labor and work to create something for us to be in. We have created phenomena, and we misunderstand phenomena as something that we should be resting in, right? When in fact, what we're trying to rest in is something that we're so deeply, unconsciously, subconsciously creating, right? We're fabricating this and we don't get it. And we're trying to get back to this inner mechanism of creation to begin to relax, to let go, to be at ease. And when we let go, when we ease this production of phenomena up, then things begin to fall apart, dissolve. And that is the experience of liberation from incarceration within kind of a Buddhist sense, or within a New Saints context, right? The liberation from the carceral state begins with letting go of our participation in the creation of carceral reality. That we are creating the prisons that we're at the same time trying to escape. So this is where we start in our practice, right here. That we are trying to escape the phenomena that we're at the same time generating and creating. Which is why we can get so frustrated. We can get so overwhelmed because we're trying to develop these realizations and these deeper intuitions. We're trying to cut through the illusion of phenomena, but there's a deeper part of ourselves that's constantly generating the same material that we're trying to get through, right? And it feels hopeless sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And I think this is why Tantric Buddhism is so skillful here, is that we're trying to get into the mechanism, the creation of what we're trying to escape from. Let's start abolishing all of this work of creating and just resting, releasing, letting go of this, and just being. And the more we begin to do this kind of practice, the more the phenomenal world changes. Right? That you let go of seeing barriers or experiencing barriers and limitations, right? Or dead ends, right? But you begin to, over time, begin to feel the overwhelming potential of what is possible. And it's more than just potential, it is the truth in this moment. We're trying to remember that, right? This moment is full of potential because this moment is inherently liberated. It is inherently free. We are the ones who bring all of this labor, this work, this baggage, this misunderstanding to the moment. Right? The moment isn't the problem. Our misunderstanding of the moment is the problem. And that's what we're trying to disrupt as well. So continuing, I just invite you to notice the seat under you. And the weight of your body and how the seat is just rising to hold you. And when you feel that meeting of your body and the seat, allow your body to really surrender to the seat. Let the seat hold you. Trust the seat to hold you. The seat really, as this anchor, is inviting us and guiding us into the moment, along with every other expression of phenomena, acting as anchors, slowly, gently tethering our awareness back into this moment. But it's bringing our awareness back to what is being created, right, by our own minds, our consciousness. So this really practice of mindfulness right now is how we begin to slow down the creation of phenomena and letting this creation just be. Not getting involved, but just watching, noticing, and slowly we begin to experience. Right? The experience is the somatic piece of this work, right? That is how we slowly begin to return back to the body, bit by bit, little by little. And of course, we notice the earth, how the land arises to hold all of us, the land arising as one part of a very sacred duality in this realm, the duality of the mother and the father, the land as the mother, the earth as the mother. So we greet the mother. We offer deep gratitude to the mother who is always loving us, regardless of who we are. The love of the earth is unconditional. But as we understand that we have to believe that we are lovable, that we deserve love, right? And no matter how much any being is trying to love us, if we do not believe that we deserve that love, it will never touch us. We will never be transformed by that love, which is at its heart just deep acceptance, profound acceptance of everything. Right? The real transformation of love begins with ourselves, with how we begin to love and care for ourselves, which includes abolishing all of the attitudes, the beliefs, right, around what we don't, right, deserve, or what we do deserve, right? Letting go of all of that and just be loved, just be accepted. Right? The hard stuff, the traumas, the all the shit that we've done, all the guilt, the shame, all of that is asking to have its place, to be accepted. Not not celebrated, not any of that, but just to be accepted. This is an experience. And we tell the truth and we let it be there. This is what love very, very deeply feels like. It's just this unjudgmental acceptance. It's not about being right or wrong, or just or unjust, right? Or whatever. It's not about any of that. It's just about saying that this is happening, this is arising, this is going on, and letting space do the rest of the work by holding it. And then we experience what we need to experience, the brokenheartedness, the shame, the sadness. These are just experiences, again, arising from the real truth of emptiness. And as we greet the land, the earth as the mother, we greet the sky, right? And when I talk about the sky, I think about just the space above me and around me that opens, that holds. As the earth tethers and nurtures, the sky opens and clears and protects and watches. The Father as the other part of the sacred duality. And when we turn our attention to the Father, it's like we're also turning attention to maybe emptiness, openness, expansiveness. As we feel rooted by the Mother, we feel the Father expanding, clearing, opening. And can you feel that? Like, can you just experiment with that? This feeling of being rooted and tethered, but also feeling expansive, open, limitless. And so we turn our attention to our opening mantra, which is Om Minna Sangeki no Soha, which is Medicine Buddha, please think of me, look upon me. I like to think of Medicine Buddha as the expression of a kind of a father tantra, right? As we pray to Medicine Buddha to clear, to open, to remove, to heal, maybe, right? But the expansiveness. As we prepare to offer this mantra, which will begin with Om and chanting the mantra 3 times and then ending with the Om, just in case you're new. But as we're chanting, I just invite you to feel or to connect to any experience of opening that may occur. And secondly, to perhaps imagine, not too aggressively, but just very slightly, softly imagining the awakening of Medicine Buddha's consciousness around us. Imagining that Medicine Buddha awakens as the space, the emptiness, holding, surrounding, permeating everything. That Medicine Buddha, like all the Buddhas, permeate everything, even the dark places, even the suffering. So turning our attention to the chat, we begin to the mantra. We begin with Om. Om la zange hi no so Om la zange hi no so Om la zange hi no so And so shifting your attention to the breath, noticing the in breath and the out breath. And breathing into the nose, releasing out of your mouth. Rounding the lips as if you are blowing out a candle as you release. And as you're inhaling, I invite you to imagine that you're inhaling the consciousness, the energy, or the blessings of Medicine Buddha. And as you exhale, imagine that we're releasing anything that we're struggling with, any doubt, confusion, sadness, grief, releasing all of that in the out breath. So we're inhaling in the blessings, the energy of Medicine Buddha, releasing any suffering, struggle, confusion. And of course, the truth of all of this is that we're inhaling and releasing only just emptiness. The consciousness, the blessing of Medicine Buddha, just arising from emptiness. The suffering we release, again, arising from emptiness. But the breath work helps us to make things movable, fluid, open. So again, like we're still feeling the seat and the earth, the sky. We're moving through the breath, allowing ourselves to come into the moment, to drift into the moment as if the breath is slightly, gently floating us into the moment, into this place of non-distraction. And we slowly begin to transition into the main mantra, but we're gonna start nice and easy. So not starting with the drum immediately, but awakening, warming up the mantra, just really gradually, slowly, gradually, just like the breath, just like the tethering, the opening, just like emptiness itself, gradual. So we begin. O 제안다움 백은세 마백은세 란서 수문가제소아 제안다운베근세 베근세 마베근세 란서 수문가제소아 제안다운베근세 베근세 마베근세 란스수문가르소아 제안다운베근세 베근세 마베근세 란스수문가르소아 제안다운베근세 베근세 마베근세 란스수문가레소아 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 제안다운베근세 베근세 마베근세 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 란선승문가래소아 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 란선승문가래소아 대한다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 란서수문가에소아. Now just turning our attention to our prayer requests. We call into the space, even though they're already here, but we call them formally. We call to all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Dharma protectors, to all the beings of light, to every being in the universe who is working for us to get free, to all the benevolent ancestors, to all the guardians and spirits of the elements, the lands, and the waters, and so forth, that we are being held by. We call your attention. We ask you to hold these prayers offered by this sacred community. And we ask that you bring to fruition all of these prayers while at the same time blessing us and showing us how to bring about the fruition of these prayers as well in our own lives and within our own communities. And we begin by offering prayers to my son, and my son and his family be safe and well, prayers for peace and disarmament, for my daughter, my sisters, and nibblings to be protected from harm and accidents, prayers that I and all travelers may have the strength and courage to continue our work unafraid and unashamed, prayers that I may welcome stable, abundant income and service to all beings, prayers for Ara that she has a good silent retreat, prayers for clarity and understanding of what really matters and who are my people. May I experience joy in my grief. Prayers for Catherine, who is overwhelmed with teen anger. Prayers for her family who loves her and cannot yet figure out how to help her. May they find healing and peace. Prayers for M, that she passes her exam and feel good about her healthcare decision. Prayers for Nikki that they find relief from financial suffering and gain meaningful employment soon. Prayers for MB that she finds a lot of strength as she navigates her mood. Prayers for Rafi whose struggle with addiction ended. May he rest in peace. Prayers for safe travels for all those at risk in the U.S. Prayers for S's Baba as he continues to recover from emergency surgery last week. Prayers for N and R to be safe, healthy, and well on their way to swift and complete liberation. Prayers for me to let go of old habits that no longer serve me so that I may serve abolition and liberation more fully. Prayers for the disappeared in Argentina. It's been 50 years. Prayers for remembrance, justice, and truth. Prayers of gratitude, of blessings, of release from old entanglements. Prayers of thanks, love, and devotion to all the unseen forces for positivity in my life. Prayers of strength and wellness for my daughter and dog, for Lama Rod. May he reach complete liberation in his next breath. May suffering end for all beings, and may all be free. Prayers for my mother's health and for relief from depression and addiction to Kaba. Praying for sanity, clarity, stability, and strength as I continue to heal from cancer and chronic pain. Prayer for Ara's transition into adulthood. May she have community, belonging, agency, and health and appetite for food and for life. May the invisible ones help with cash flow, please. I would love solid renters with a rooms downstairs who needs match what the space provides. May my benefactors arrange for something to cover my income gap. Let it burst into my awareness, whatever the missing piece is. Prayers for S as he makes his way in the bardo, and for his surviving wife and daughter, for all those who've died recently and all those who survived them. Prayers for my father's health and for my well-being, stability, and capacity. Prayers for L's intentions. May their life transform in ways better than they can imagine. Prayers for JB to get free. Prayers for trust and belief in the path. Prayers for A and Z to live into their full expression and be in beingness. Prayers that my suffering and the suffering of all beings end as soon as possible. May all violence, wars, and genocides end soon. Prayers for E, A, M, Z, and see, prayers for those who are trying, prayers that I commit to my practice to take refuge in my experience of freedom, prayers for clarity and aligned action, prayers for love and tenderness, prayers for Karen's relief and hearing as she continues cancer treatment, prayers for Kate and her healing from advanced cancer and palliative care, prayers for all who suffer with addiction, for my recovery community. May we all get free as swiftly as possible. Prayers for my friend DR, who just was diagnosed with COVID and has had a bad case of it, as well as vulnerable lungs. Prayers for Nick and Tony as they grieve the death of their mother. Prayers for all those who are striving for liberation. Prayers for A, who is recovering from a life-changing surgery. For J and S, who are struggling. Prayers for the people of Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, Sudan, the Congo, trans and gender expansive communities, and everyone experiencing violence and oppression. Prayers for bodhicitta to be awakened in my daily living. Prayers for the smooth and amicable end of my marriage and for the new beginnings after that. Prayers that all beings find the mind of loving kindness. Prayers of strength as I ramp up to move next Monday, and prayers of gratitude that God has given me everything I need to move with ease. Ashe. Prayers to understand the power of prayer and connecting to God in mystery, to skillful asking for what we all need as a daily practice and connection to bodhicitta and possibility. Prayer to experience the truth in all of my being so I can tune into the teaching I feel called to, delighted to channel to my first group. Prayers for Ricky Jordan and the Barno. May he have an easeful journey and perfect, rich, loving rebirth. Prayers for his wife Diane and the children and all his many friends and relatives. Prayers for myself in moving through the grief, allowing it to be and to do its work. Prayers that the tiredness passes soon. Prayers to help RL in finding the right spiritual path to healing and staying grounded through adversity, and for the slowing down emotionally and physically. Prayers for safe passage for all roadblocks, literal and metaphorical, cleared away so I can cross through the U.S. without trouble and get back to what feels like home. Prayers for all children who are incarcerated. May they find the care they need. May their parents find a way to free them. And may we accept that this situation will bring us all to our bottoms. Prayer for those who grieve. Prayer that I may arrive safely to see my son Eric. Prayers for myself that these headaches will end so that I can continue to use my strength and presence for the benefit of those around me. Prayers of thanksgiving for my mother and all beings who make my life possible as I celebrate my birthday this week. Prayers for guidance towards right employment where I can grow and use my gifts that will allow me to care for myself financially. Prayers for my health issues to not progress and even improve. Prayers for my trans loved ones to be safe and have access to health care. May all beings be happy and free. Prayers for the family and loved ones of a friend that passed today. Prayers that I can practice patience and discipline as I continue on the path of finding a place to live that is safe, full of light, and close to community. Prayers for my brokenheartedness as I approach the 20-year anniversary of my mother's transition to the ancestral realm. May I remember that I am surrounded by her love and need not fear. Prayers for clarity, prayers for light, prayers for forgiveness. May I remember who and what I really am. Prayers for Tia Coco as she passes through the Bardo. We continue to offer prayers for all beings who continue or who are constantly transitioning from this realm back into the ancestral realm and the Bardo. May there be a smooth transition for all beings leaving this place. We continue to pray for the complete abolition of all systems of harm and violence. We continue to pray for as much ease and guidance in this moment of breaking down and collapse as possible. May we return back to a real sense of indigeneity, to remember that relatively, yes, we are of the land, we are of the natural world, but ultimately we are of this sacred, profound, divine, liberated experience of boundlessness, emptiness, space, that we are the very nature of liberation. May we remember this as quickly as possible. May it be so. So returning again, just back into our mantra practice. And again, we're just feeling, being with, expanding into the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. Right? opening, awakening into this really profound awareness, a knowingness that we are expressions of all the Buddhas. May we feel this. May we rest within this. And may this resting become the medicine that we need as we continue the work of not just surviving, but learning to thrive. So we continue. Ut eam taum begenze ma begenze razumugarezoa eam taum begenze ma begenze razumugarezoa eam taum Eyanda umbegunze begunze ma begunze ranzuzumungalewa Eyanda umbegunze begunze ma begunze ranzuzumungate So once again, returning to the breath, inhaling in the blessings of Medicine Buddha, releasing what we no longer need. Feeling the seat under you, connecting to the land rising to hold you, expanding into the space above you. Turning back to this moment. And finally, when you're ready, returning to a natural breath. Returning back to the body, to the seat. Beginning to reawaken your bodies through just slow movements, stretching, maybe adjusting. Moving through a few deep cleansing breaths, inhaling into the nose, releasing out of the mouth. And I offer a prayer that the protection and blessings of Medicine Buddha and all the Buddhas abide with you until we meet again. And we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we will see in the chats, in which we will recite 3 times. And we begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage, for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. And just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I always be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. All right. Fantastic, everyone. Thank you so much for your practice. as well.